How are you?
Oh my gosh, I am fantastic. Can you believe we're having this conversation?
I do and I don't.
We're just
But
going to jump right in because this is like, I mean, I've been so excited all day to be talking to you because this is just an incredible story. So why don't you start, love, by just sharing a little bit about how you found yourself on this journey, what you do, how you found yourself on this journey, and all that goodness.
yeah, I've been thinking about that. So where do I start? It really goes back a long time for me. But okay, so to me, this journey started when I was like a teenager. To me, this journey started when I was like growing up. Now that I think about it, right? Um, and that's where I see it starting now. Now that everything has happened and their journey has ended, not ended, but modified itself, right? Okay, so
Yeah, just a little bit.
nothing ends. Okay, so when I was 12, my parents get divorced. I'm originally from Argentina. I live in Buenos Aires, right? My parents get divorced when I was 12, and a couple months later, I get my first period, right? So I develop into a woman, and so I start puberty in a very difficult home, and there was it was difficult divorce, and it was not good. But I was a responsible middle child. I was one out of four, so I took care of that situation like an adult, right? So that's where my journey starts. And then about 18, I get an ovarian cyst, I get surgery, and then I get another one, and I get surgery. So at a very young age, I get diagnosed with endometriosis, pretty high stage. And I start on this journey of, I have like issues in my female system, right? Very heavy periods. So I was told back then, so I was 18, 19, 20, that I was told back then by the wonderful medical community at the time that I was going to have issues with fertility, right? Back then, right? So young. And so I was like, okay, so that kind of stuck to me, unfortunately. And so then around 24, I get another surgery for ovarian cysts and endometriosis when I meet my husband, right? So I meet my husband, and my husband is from the US. And it's my perfect chance to just like fly away. So everything, I fall in love with my husband, and we have a beautiful, relationship, and I'm married to this day. But at the time I was 24, he was my chance to like grab my bags and just leave, right? So I grabbed my bags and moved to the US and leave Argentina behind. I thought I was leaving it behind, but tried to leave it behind. And I was in med school. I'm a medical doctor. I do family medicine. I start residency in the US, in North Carolina. I've always been like an A student, very responsible type, So I sit for my exams in the US. I get into residency. I do my residency. So ending residency, I'm close to like 29. That's where we decide, well, let's have kids. I've always wanted to have kids. My husband does too. We always wanted a family and kids. There was no doubt, right? So I stopped taking birth control because birth control for years was controlling my endometriosis. That's how it works, right? That's how they stop all your hormones, and that's how you keep it under control. So I stopped birth control, and my period is a mess. My endometriosis is a mess. I never get pregnant. And that's where my journey starts again, I would say. I start a journey on, okay, I'm not getting pregnant, but I kind of knew in the back of my mind, because of my history, they've already told me I was going to have issues, right? Which is unfortunate, very unfortunate now that I think about it. They planted that in me so young, like, you're going to have issues. And then, well, anyway, no pregnancy. it takes me a couple of years. When I'm 31, I finally go to a fertility doctor. So it's like 2 or 3 years. I remember they look at me like, "You're young, but why did it take so long to come to see us?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm a doctor myself. I've tried. I was trying naturally. Anyway, fertility doctor, not the best experience, at least at first. They tell me your chances are so poor. You're 31, but you have the ovaries of a 45-year-old. Like yes, all these numbers, right? At least I remember that way. My ovarian reserve was 0.000. I don't know where my ovaries went, even though I used to get my periods every month, so it's kind of rare, but so no ovarian reserve, lots of endometriosis, very low chances, even if we tried IVF, right? The highest, more sophisticated way of trying to achieve pregnancy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember crying in front of that doctor who didn't even hand me a Kleenex. And then my husband was like, "Well, but your husband is like Superman. He's fine. He could get pregnant the whole city if he wanted, but you are like..." Great. I needed that contrast in my life. Anyway, so I was already working as a doctor in a medical office, and I met with another fertility doctor. They told me the same thing, very low chances. You gotta hurry up. You have no eggs. We need to start right away. And those things are happening in life at the same time. So I had a cousin back home in Argentina who unfortunately passed away from breast cancer at 31, same age as me at that time, right? So that I came to Argentina to see her at the time, and she was also trying to conceive at the time, and there was a lot of doubts whether like all these treatments that she had done had interfered with her possible, spread of her cancer and all these things. And I saw her so sick and dying, and I was like, all of a sudden I got so upset with the medical world, so upset. I got so angry, like they don't know anything. I'm not gonna do any treatments. I have to find something else. So I decided to quit, the doctor, not start any treatment. They gave me very poor chances anyway, and they were not very nice. So I started a journey of like looking everywhere else, right? So, and that was about for the following 3 or 4 years, I went to every single doctor that was not an MD. So, Korean, Chinese, Ayurveda, chiropractors, psychics. I drank all the vitamins, all the supplements, all the diets, all the yoga poses, all the everything. I was like, anybody told me like what they did to get pregnant, I just ran there. Anything that was not conventional, right? I was like, people get pregnant doing acupuncture, so I would be there 3 times a week, and I'm very methodic and I'm very responsible. So I tried everything, and it was 3, 4 years. It was a long time. And I remember, okay, I'm gonna find a special, non-conventional way of getting pregnant, because I know people get pregnant that way. And even though they told me I have no chances, I'm gonna try anyway. I'm gonna try all these things. And of course, the non-conventional docs, they tell you, no, you need to do this something different, right? So I wanted to try everything. And it was very interesting because at the time I was a kind of a recently graduated family doc, and I was starting my practice. So it almost felt like an experiment, because I also learned a lot about diet, nutrition, herbs, vitamins, Chinese, Chinese traditional medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. So I all started incorporating it into my own practice, right? Like onto my own patients. So it was like, this is a double win. Eventually I'll get pregnant with one of them. In the meantime, I'm learning a lot of non-conventional medicine, which I enjoyed a lot, right? I did the craziest things. And later on, I remember writing a list with your program on how many things I had done trying to get pregnant. And my list is like 45 items, like endless. Anyway, the best. It was the best list ever. But around fourth year, I was, I guess, 34, 35. My husband is like, I'm done with you. Because every time I would try something, I would try for 3, 4, 5 months, maybe not more than 5 months. And I would feel like, okay, I failed again. I didn't get pregnant with this treatment. I didn't get pregnant with this herb. I didn't get pregnant with writing a letter to my ancestors and burying it in the cemetery. I didn't get pregnant with, the crazy things, but some people did, but I didn't, right? I'm the special case that doesn't get pregnant with anything, right? Because pregnancy test after pregnancy test after all of them negative, right? So my husband said, I'm done with you. I don't want to get pregnant. You are miserable. This is a horrible life. So it's going to ruin our relationship. We're going to adopt. We're done. So he made me get off this infertility train and get on the adoption train, I call it, because at the time, it was a very good step for me, right? So the adoption train to me means doesn't matter how old you are. I don't have to eat any certain way. I don't have to drink anything. These social workers will give me a child and it will be my child. And all of a sudden I was like, well, adoption is like, I guess adoption was my way anyway. So I get on the adoption train. 5 months later, they call me. My daughter was born. Come and pick her up. Beautiful baby girl. There you go. You're a mom. Very quick adoption, right? So I was like, this was it. Like I've done so many things, and all I had to do was sign up some papers to adopt, and they give me this beautiful. I had my first daughter. She was this beautiful, healthy baby girl. She was a day old, and it was like it changed my life forever, right? I was like, thank you. This was what it was meant to be. That's why I never got pregnant. I get this beautiful baby girl. Okay. So about a month after my daughter was born and I was a mom, this is nuts. I mean, endometriosis symptoms start getting like wild, like terrible. With the change in diet and the change in lifestyle, I had also started to manage very well, like my endometriosis, my health, my heartburn, my migraines. I was like, I'm the doctor. I can manage things like with diet and nutrition. And all of a sudden, it's almost like, I remember thinking, is my body upset because I'm a mom, even though he didn't want to be a mom? Like, and all of a sudden I'm a mom. My endometriosis got wild and I would get this terrible pain, heavy periods. Everything was back. I'm like, what's going on? It's so weird. I'm with my baby, right? So I thought, this must be a sign that I need to go back and try to get pregnant, right? I need to fix my endometriosis again. So I back to the Chinese doctor, I finally consult a specialist. At the time we were living in New York City. I consult these specialists in the endometriosis in the world, right? It took me like 4 months to get an appointment. I paid whatever I had to pay. I see this very experienced endometriosis guy. And he's like, you're full of endometriosis. There's no way you will ever get pregnant. This is the way. I'm like, I'm not here to get pregnant. I'm just, I'm in pain. He's like, yes, but you're going to get pregnant. So I'm like, that would be nice because I do want another child, right? So they do surgery once again, surgery, pills, diet. I get back on that track and I get back on this appointment track. Like after a surgery, you get pregnant within the first 6 months. No, never pregnant. I never used birth control, nothing, but never pregnant, okay? So then I'm like, okay, hold on. Anyway, eventually my endometriosis calmed down. Eventually I signed up for another adoption. I wanted another child. I signed up for another adoption. About 2 years later, my second daughter is born. They call me. There's the baby who's born in Pittsburgh. Come over, pick her up. So all of a sudden, like, we're parents again. We drive to Pittsburgh, pick up this beautiful second baby girl. We're parents again. I have my second child. I'm like, yes, I did it again. I'm a mom, even though my body wouldn't do it. I'm still a mom, and I'm so proud, and it was so beautiful. And I'm like, I really felt bliss at the time because I had 2 kids. I was 38. I was like, they were healthy, they were beautiful. I felt like I had succeeded somehow. Like I'm a mom, and I was able to do it. Okay. And then, but then, but then, like about a year later, I would say my second daughter was 1, my first daughter was 4, like the family of 4, you would say like, everything is great. Then this little thing starts like coming to my head again, like, why didn't you ever get pregnant in the end? Like, what happened? Why is it that your body never decided to get pregnant? What happened with your eggs? All these questions started to come up again. And I had a very hard time sharing that with anybody, because I thought like, okay, you're a mom, you have 2 kids, you have a beautiful family. Why do you question everything again about your fertility, about why, about my husband won't tell me, so simple, we just had to have these girls. That's why you never got pregnant. I'm like, I know, I'm very grateful, but you know, I can't believe I still never got pregnant, right? Okay. And then at the time, we also decide to move back to Argentina. So I'm on these plans to, okay, I need to move back to Argentina. I want my girls to grow up closer to my family. 2020 starting, the pandemia starts, everything goes nuts in New York and everywhere. And I'm like, no, I need to have my girls near family. So we decide to move. But it gets highly postponed because they close airports. And so in the middle of this mix of feelings, I start therapy to plan my return to Argentina, because I was very aware, but there was a reason why I didn't want to live there at 24. So I start therapy to plan my return mentally. And then I turn 39, right? Turn 39. And I tell my husband, look, I have a year to become, I guess, more of a risk patient for pregnancy. I still want to get pregnant one day. I confess, I want to get pregnant. So let's try again, just a little bit. I'm not saying, I'm not going to go crazy on diets, crazy on things. Let's just try and see when I'm ovulating, and let's just try one more year. Like, he's like, fine, poor thing. He's like, fine, okay. So in the midst of like starting to try again, I find your book on Instagram, and just the title was like, I've done so many things, and the title of "You're the Reason You're Not Getting Pregnant," I was like, that's the only thing I haven't tried. Like, investigating myself. Like, I went to all these outside things to try to get pregnant, like things to take, things to do, but I never looked much of inside. Like, you are the reason. It really stuck to me. I downloaded the PDF. I read it in 2 days. I like swallowed that thing. Like, this is totally me. And this is what I hadn't done in those 3 or 4 years of craziness, right? I'm like, this is me. Anyway, so I get an interview with you. It takes a while to get you, and then before the interview, I actually do the vision board, because you describe the vision board on your book. So I sat one night and I cut, magazines and everything. And I do the vision board. I put it on my desk, and I'm like, okay, I have my vision board. I'm waiting for my interview with Rosanne. And then, and there's no coincidences. The day of our interview, we have our interview together. To me, you sound a little crazy and a little pushy. And I'm like, I'm not sure this is for me. I'm not sure. And then I'm like, is this going to be another fail, right? Is this going to be another thing I tried off my 45 list? Are you going to be number 46? And all this money. And I'm not sure. I remember trying a credit card, it didn't work. So you tell me, don't worry, just try again tonight. And I'm like, this woman is really pushing me. Anyway, I hung out with you, and my mom calls from Argentina and says, Victoria, I found a house for you that you should go see here near my house that is for rent. And I think that is going to work for you when you guys move to Argentina. You can rent this house near to us, and they say it's a good opportunity, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, send me the link. Okay. She sends me this link, and I look at this picture of this house. This house was on my vision board. The exact same house. The house that I cut from a magazine, because I had these real estate magazines from Buenos Aires that my mom would bring to me, like when she would travel often. So I used those magazines to do my vision board. And I remember cutting a house saying, I think this house is near my mom's. I'm just going to cut it as representation, like I don't want to live in Argentina. So that was on my vision board, right? And my mom sends me this link of the exact same house that I was on my vision board. And my mom, this is very creepy, very creepy. The house you just sent me was already stuck on my wall. It's like wild, right? So wild. I mean, it didn't even need to be so exact, but I was like, okay, I need to sign up on this thing that this crazy woman is offering, because it's right. It's like, it's too wild. Okay. So I signed up and I start your coaching, and oh my God, it was like the best thing ever. I started coaching with the group, you know, that was September 2020 or October 2020. I loved it, Rosanne. I would like, you know, when you're a child and you want Saturday to come fast because it's the weekend. No, I wanted Saturday to come fast because it was our meeting with our coaching team. And I loved it. I enjoyed it so much. I felt like this is my people, right? You feel like so connected and people living the same way. But there was one thing when I first started our meetings, I felt kind of embarrassed. I'm going to go to that, but I felt a little like, okay, this is a bit awkward because all these women, most of them don't have kids. Most of them are older than me. A lot of them are older than me. I was 39. And then I already have two little girls. I have two little girls and a family, and I want another one. You know what I mean? I want a pregnancy. And I was like, oh, I felt I shouldn't be there. But you told me, I shared this, and you said, even if you had 10 kids and you wanted an 11th, you still deserve to be here. I was like, thank you. You know, I felt, you know, so that's when I started realizing, like, what's in my head? Like, I don't feel I deserve this, right? I really didn't. I started seeing so many things from my story, from my past, from my attitude towards life. During those coaching sessions, I would type like crazy, trying to get all the information, like a class, right? Back in med school, like, no, typing. And then I would listen to the recording. That was the best, listening to the recording and even listening to my own voice on those coaching classes, and how it was a week when I started talking and then it became stronger, and how, anyway, it was so worth it. I felt so sad when my 8 weeks were over because I wanted to meet forever with these women. It was such a wonderful experience. So it really, I think I started finding these missing pieces that I had never thought about before, and I started seeing them all throughout my journey. Right? Think about it. I started trying to get pregnant at 29, and I was 39. Right? I had 2 kids. I was a happy person, but I still had this craving. And you told me you had this craving for an experience, and it's totally fair to have it. And I was like, you're right. You're right. Anyway, so many of the things that you mentioned, like I remember that helped, and not only helped my journey to eventually for pregnancy, but helped a lot of aspects in my life so much, so many things, my career, my profession, my relationship with my parents, I don't know, everything. It starts changing the way you see other people. The whole concept of lack and scarcity, right? The whole concept of I have yes, and I want something else. The whole concept of I'm worthy of wanting more or wanting a successful life. I realized at the time that my religious growing up with this religious education, somehow I misunderstood, I think, that I had to carry a cross, and if I carry a cross like Jesus did and died on the cross and carried this burden, I was a better person. And so my cross was my infertility. So I almost wanted to stay there because I was a better person if I continue carrying this cross. If I was the person where no treatments work, so I was more worthy, I guess.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, isn't that crazy, Victoria? I mean, like, not like you are crazy, but isn't it interesting the way that we create identity around our suffering? Like, that's basically what you're talking about, is you create this scenario where I'm only worthy of having what I want if I'm suffering for it. So it's interesting how we create these stories and we tie our worthiness to suffering. It's really interesting.
Absolutely. I see it so clearly now. Those years when I was 31, 32, 33, 34, drinking magic potions, I had identified myself as the non-fertile, poor woman, everybody else around me getting pregnant except for me. But I almost, I wouldn't say I liked it, but that was me. That was what it's meant to be for me, and I had to accept it. And I was stuck there.
Well, and it's interesting the way that we feel more certain. At least that's predictable, right? If Victoria's the one that can't get pregnant, it's predictable. It creates a predictable future for us. So what did you start seeing happening through the coaching? Because you changed, like, you didn't just change the way you thought about yourself. There were quite a few things that started to change for you. I think you even cut your hair.
Yeah, so yes. So I wear my hair very long forever since I couldn't remember. And during the coaching, I cut it my short, like now, like how I cut it short, like drastic. And I remember I showed up and you're like, whoa, girl, you're going through massive transformation. I'm like, really, that much? Like, I didn't see it at the time. But yes, I wanted to be a different person. I wanted to, like, okay, I'm done with Victoria, the infertile, or the woman that suffers to be worthy, or all the things that were stuck in my mind from a very young age. I want to be somebody else now. I'm ready to be somebody else. Yes, absolutely. And yes, it was at the time, it was short and intense, and there's so much information that I needed to digest. And it did take me some months to go over all this digestion, because it's a lot of information and new ideas. I read a few books, and the funniest thing, that the one that was had the most impact on me was the Sermon on the Mount by Emmett Fox. Who knew? So the Sermon on the Mount explains the Bible, right, with a different perspective from the one I grew up interpreting. I learned the Bible from a Catholic perspective, and the Sermon on the Mount gives me a different perspective. I'm like, this is gold. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Like, I'm like, I can't believe I never read this book before, because it took all that guilt and all that unworthiness and all that you have to suffer to be, I guess, a good. You have to suffer. Like, that's the way to go. And that was from a book from a pastor. It wasn't you, crazy pink lady, telling me. It wasn't like somebody else.
Well, I mean, there's so much that we learn by challenging these paradigms that we live by, and think about it. You had been carrying since the age of 18 the story that having babies was going to be difficult for you. So you had to over 20 years of holding that piece of information. I mean, you got to tell me that this has changed the way that you work as a physician, because you're probably really careful about what you say now.
God. 100,000%. I'm like I'm a totally different person from when I started med school, from when I graduated residency. And again, there's no coincidence, but then the pandemic happens, COVID and all this crazy medical year too, which also challenged a lot of my beliefs about medicine, about fear, about a ton of things as well. So yes, I started changing everything. The way I see people, the way what people I want to have relationships with, and what people I rather not. Like, you get this sense, you start being more sensitive to different energies, and yes, pretty amazing. It was such a blessing, And so we finished our coaching, I guess, December 1st, and December 20th, we grab our bags and I moved to Argentina, right? So it was also good timing. Moved to Argentina with the whole family, initially very excited. And then the first 6 months were not that easy, a lot of adaptation. And about the 6-month mark after your coaching, I'm talking to my therapist, and I'm still I have my goal ahead of me, like I will have another child because I have it so clear from the coaching. But all of a sudden I go back to like, maybe not, maybe I'm believing something I'm not. So I quit again, one more time. So I unsubscribe to your list. I don't want to listen to you, Rosanne, or anything anymore. And I quit. I'm not going to get pregnant. And my therapist at the time, who I really, I had been very helpful at the time, but I think with this, she wasn't as helpful. She told me, like, you just need to grieve the fact that you want a bigger family. You have a beautiful family with 2 kids. Like, this is making you suffer, and it's making your kids possibly suffer. And you need to let go of this idea that you want another child. Obviously, it's not going to happen. Like, numbers says it's not going to happen. 10 years of not ever using birth control, all these things that you try. Like, why do you continue torturing yourself? And I'm like, you're right, I need to cry. And so I started this grieving process of not, and I covered part of my vision board with some sticky with some sticky notes. I'm like, no, this is not going to happen. Even though it's on my vision board, it's not going to happen. So I go into this gray, dark place again of like, okay, I need to say goodbye. I talked to my husband, I talked to some friends. I'm trying to grieve the fact that I wanted another child and I wanted to get pregnant, but it's not going to happen to me. And like, that's how life is. Sometimes things don't happen. Okay, it doesn't last very long. One morning I wake up, I'm like, this is not working, because I'm trying to cry, I'm trying to grieve it, and the idea doesn't get out of my head. And then Rosanne's voice doesn't get out of my head, and the Sermon on the Mount doesn't get out of my head. I can't. So the grieving dark phase was maybe a month, or probably less. And all of a sudden I'm like, no, I can't even get it out of my head. There's something wrong with me. So I stopped talking to my therapist. I uncover my vision board. I take out the sticky notes. I'm like, no. There's a reason why this idea does not get out of my head. There's a reason why it doesn't get out of my head. I have to trust that. I can't be that nuts. I can't be that crazy. Like, there's a reason for it, right? So I get back on listening to your podcasts. I happened to listen to a few ladies that were so helpful at the time. One of them was a physician, and I was like, yes, this is starting to grow, this joy. So I talked to my husband again, and he says, I'd rather have you believe you're going to get pregnant and happy than grieving and unhappy that you're not going to get pregnant. So it's okay with me if you want to continue trying. He's like, you look much better still trying. I'm like, okay, good. So I'm still going to try. So I signed up. I tried to sign up for adopting another child, because I was like, okay, my body doesn't get pregnant, it's fine, let's adopt. I want another child, let's adopt. So I tried to sign up. That doesn't go very far. In Argentina, the adoption system works differently. If you're not an Argentine citizen, you can't apply. And my husband is not. It's a long process for him, like a 5-year process. It won't happen. So they don't let us apply. I'm like, fine, that's okay. I can adopt here and adopt somewhere else. The only country that Argentina is connected for adoption is Russia. So I call Russia, I call all these people. Well, didn't go very far either. American citizens are not allowed to adopt in Russia. I'm like, great, okay, fine. I can adopt in Russia, I can adopt in Argentina. Okay, fine, but I had something in me. I'm like, it's fine, this baby's coming anyway. This baby's coming anyway from somewhere. I already tried to get it out of my mind and I couldn't. I made a huge effort to get this out of my mind and I couldn't. So I'm gonna stick with it a little bit longer. Okay, it's fine. This baby's coming from somewhere. I sit down for dinner. This is November last year, November 2021. It's been a year from your coaching. And I remember the year mark for your coaching was pretty big, you know? And I was like, oh, I'm at the year mark of the coaching. It's fine. It's happening. It's happening. I sit down with my friends for dinner, and one of my friends says, okay, you can adopt from Russia, you can adopt from Argentina. Why don't you adopt an embryo? I'm like, what? I've never heard such thing. Nobody ever offered me that option. And she's like, yeah, look into it. Because people adopt embryos instead of whatever other treatments. I'm like, okay. So that night I couldn't fall asleep. I'm Googling adopting an embryo. What is that? Anything. So I finally called a fertility clinic here, like a few blocks away from my house. And they say, I need an appointment. And I feel I'm going backwards to that medical world that I had rejected back at the time. Like I had said, like, they can't help me. Doctors don't know anything. You need to go unconventional. I pick up the phone and it's like, hi, I need a doctor's appointment. Yes, fertility doctor. Yes, please give me an appointment. Okay, fine. And I walk in there with my husband and I say, Dr. Fertility, I want to adopt an embryo or something of the sort because I want to have another child. So they look at my history and everything. And the doctor initially tells me, oh, it's going to be tough for you to get pregnant. And I'm like, I know, but I want to adopt an embryo. So I don't need my eggs. And he's like, oh, okay. He smiles really. He gets so excited. He's like, I have like 100 embryos already given up for adoption, waiting for you. He's like, no problem. This is super easy. Like, you're not old. You can do this. And that's when it finally like came to me so clearly, like, this is how my baby's coming. Like, so clearly. Because the doctor was like smiling, like, yes, of course, I have all these embryos ready for you. We just pick one. You come whenever you want. Adopting an embryo is an easier process than doing the whole IVF, right? Because you don't need you or your husband. You just need to go and bring up an embryo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, pick a date. I'm ready when you are. I'm like, okay. And so I look at Nathan, my husband. I'm like, let's do it. And he's like, oh, okay. And so I do some testing, I do some blood work, whatever they ask for. And then March 2022, I go in for my transfer of my embryo. In the meantime, I live so close to the fertility clinic because I chose the closest one because it's convenient. But every time I drive by, I'm like, hey, little baby, I know you're there. I'm getting things ready for you to come in. I know you're there. It's so clear to me in the end. I know you're there. I'm coming in a little bit. I just need an appointment at a certain date of my cycle and I'm coming to get you. I would drive past so often, right? So the day I go in for my transfer, I walk into the clinic. I'm like, hi, I'm here to pick up my baby. You know, it's somewhere in this building, frozen. I was like so certain. I'm like, I'm here to pick up my baby. Or I'm just, let me know, you know. And so I get that transfer done. It's very simple, very easy. They had me rest the next day, which was the best day of my life, watching Netflix all day, which you don't get to do when you have 2 kids, right? Just resting there. And I'm like, maybe I brought you home. You're not in that clinic anymore. You're right here. You're right here. And then on day 10, after the transfer, I think, yeah, day 10, you had to go for a blood test. Day 9 in the evening, I'm like, I'm going to take a pregnancy test just for fun, because I never had a positive one. So I find an old expired pregnancy test with my bathroom, expired pregnancy test. And I run it in the evening. This is all you don't have to do, right? You have to do them in the morning and positive right away, right, positive pregnancy test. And I was like, after 12 years of like, you know, and the funniest thing is I wasn't even that surprised. I was like, yep, you're here. I leave it on the next to the sink and I go and take a shower. I don't even run to my husband or cry or scream or anything. I was like, yeah, there you are. I kind of knew it. I knew it. It was such a long journey of see, the months before the transfer, I had this certainty, like it has to be this, it has to be some way. So yeah, positive pregnancy test on the stupid expired stick. And
Victoria, you're living proof of what you hear me say all the time. The desire in your heart to be a mom is there because it was meant for you. Think about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Think about this. Think about what you're talking about right now, woman. Like, think about what happened when you allowed yourself, you stopped playing games and pretending like you didn't want this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And change my identity, honestly. I think I changed the way I saw life in general. I saw myself, like I was a different, I walked into that fertility clinic in March and I was a different person from 2 years prior, or I was a different person. I was like, and amazing. And that's it. And now I'm 31 weeks pregnant.
31 weeks. Okay, like let's do the math here. 18, told it'd be difficult for you to ever get pregnant. Went on like that for 10 years, trying all this stuff. You adopt 2 beautiful baby girls, and your heart is still telling you, I love them so much. They're perfect for me. And I want more. And then you get mad and you're like, fuck all this. Like, I don't need any of this. I don't need to hear Rosanne's voice, except you started hearing it again. When you actually listen to your heart, you hear like your mom says, we got this house, like, all this stuff, like, and then your friend tells you, hey, what about embryo adoption? And boom, like, boom. When you get out of the way, look at what happens. Like, and like Victoria, like my head almost fell off of my neck when you were saying you walked in there and driving by like, hey baby, I'm coming to get you. You know, I mean, like, who are you? Like, who is this woman from suffering to 31 weeks pregnant? Like, seriously, that's a massive transformation.
It is. It is. It's huge.
I mean, what would you want the women listening to know? Because there's like, you've been dropping bombs this whole time of like nuggets of information and so many powerful things. But if you were going to narrow it down and say, look, here's what you have to know, what would you tell these women?
I think I think, I mean, this is what you've said like 100,000 times. So there's a desire within you to be a mom, and it comes from it has to come from the universe. It's not you. It's not just you like coming up with an idea of like, I want to buy a new pair of underwear. It's not you. It has to, the force is stronger than you, or you are the universe, or whatever you want to call it. It's so strong that I think that the best way of addressing it is just trusting in this force that is coming to you, and then life will show you the way eventually, because we want to control how it's going to happen and when. And we, at least I used to think I was in charge of making it happen, like all my decisions, and I was in charge of, okay, this baby's going to come because I'm going to do this and that and this, and I'm a doer, right? I'm a doctor, and that's how we're trained. But this goes way beyond, went way beyond me. This was like a strong desire, and it was going to happen eventually. I just had to trust it. And in the meantime, maybe enjoy life a little bit more, because this identity I had put on myself as the sufferer was not the most pleasant time, right? Yeah,
No,
unfortunately.
But you also had to be the woman that was willing to take the action, because you could have told your friend, oh, I don't need embryo adoption. That's not me. That seems too extreme. I mean, like, you could have said any number of things, but there had to have been something awake in you to be willing to take that action. What do you think that was?
Well, because my old me would have said, like, that's another treatment that won't work for me. Like, that's going to be another thing on my list of these things didn't work for my pregnancy, because I'm that person who's meant not to get pregnant. Like, that was my identity. That was me. I was I guess, that I had identified myself. I wanted other people to look at me and say, oh, poor Victoria, she doesn't get pregnant with anything. And so when I stepped out of that identity, like I left that costume aside, and I said, well, maybe this will work. Actually, no, something will work for sure. Something will work for sure. I stopped crying when I would get my periods, because if you see your period as a sign of failure, you're still in that identity of like suffering, and I'm the victim. I'm the one that things happen to me. Another period is like painful and horrible. But all of a sudden, it's like I would get my period and be like, it's okay, another month just to get ready for this baby that is coming. It's coming. For some reason, the certainty dropped on me. And I guess it's because I went back and forth so many times. I guess because I resisted it. I resisted it so much at the time that I quit Rosanne. Remember, I call it the dark moments where I quit the whole Rosanne system. I resisted it so hardly, and it's still like, I still couldn't break. I still couldn't do it. Was still within me already, growing within me. So I think if you're certain in your mind that this desire is coming from a higher place, then it doesn't matter when you get your period. It doesn't matter how many treatments you do. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore, because you're so certain that this baby is meant for you.
Right. Right. Well, and it's interesting too. I mean, and I tell women this all the time. I only work with women that I believe in. Can you see why I pushed you? Can you see why I wasn't tolerating your nonsense and why I refused to listen to your excuses? Like, because when you've had that fire in you, like I did for my son, you can see it in other women, and you can see it from a mile away. So the fact all of the endometriosis, 0.0 AMH, all of these things, it was not relevant to me. What I was listening to was your heart. And what I was listening for was the fire. And I heard it loud and clear. And I'm so freaking glad that you did too. And you stopped being silly and trying to ignore it, because today you're 31 weeks pregnant because you were willing to listen to your heart. It's incredible, Victoria. I mean, your story is, it's such an incredible way to show other women the power of tenacity, the power of resilience, and the willingness to go the distance. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels really nice to be on this side. I've heard so many stories, and at first I would hear them thinking that won't happen to me because I'm not that person. And then, but this past year, I would listen to the podcast thinking, no, that's me too. You know, that's the next me. I'm the next number. This year you started counting your pregnancies. And I'm like, I'm going to be next. I'm going to be next. It's yes. And
it's incredible, and I mean, and what a massive shift, Victoria, because you went from that can't be me to I'm next. I mean, what a powerful mantra that is. I'm next. I'm next.
Yeah.
I mean, you just gave every woman that's listening to this from all over the world her brand new mantra. I'm next. So is there anything else you would want the women listening to know?
So coming today to tell my story, and I wish I would tell it in like 5 years from now, because a lot of things do sink in with time, right? And more time. But I realized that, okay, you're not getting pregnant for a reason. You're one of these women whose struggle is getting pregnant, which is not all women. Some of us have this struggle, and this is a struggle that is meant for you. And then, so this struggle has made me do things that made me who I am today, right? And made me the doctor that I am today, and made me the mom that I am today, and the wife that I am today, and the daughter, because I started my story when I was 12, and my parents got divorced, and I went through all that difficulty, and I escaped my country, and I came back. Everything is related. Everything is related. There's no coincidences. Like I'm certain that returning to Argentina, confronting, my past, confronting my parents, and trying to reestablish here again, and forgiving my story back home was huge. And again, everything is connected. So I guess pregnancy that's not happening, but then let's look back. So what else is not, in my opinion, what else we have to dive in a little bit deeper in our lives? Like, what else happened that now pregnancy is not happening as soon as I want it to happen? Does that make sense? So
yeah,
and I could talk for hours about my personal psychology, and history, but
I think the universality of this is that, hey, you can be doing all the physical things. You can be doing all these things for your body, but if you're not taking care of you, and you're not getting inside and taking a look at what's going on within you, you've got a gaping hole in your approach, because this was the right baby at the right time for the right woman. That was you. And you had to be, so many things had to line up for you to be the person that was able to receive. Remember, conceiving is all about receiving. You had to be in a place that you were even able to receive this child. Because Victoria, it didn't have to work the first time. But look,
No.
it was like, boom. It's like, as soon as you were ready, this baby was ready. It happened easily. You actually found another physician who was smiling, as you said, saying, oh, this will be straightforward. Hey, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Everything lined up.
Yeah. And I was eating ice cream happily the night before, and I was like, yes, there was so much effort behind it and so much suffering behind. Yes, absolutely, yes.
You allowed this blessing to come in, and you're like the poster child for receiving right now, Victoria. And when you sent me that text message telling me you were pregnant, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I cannot wait to hear this, because I know, the changes that you had to make to be able to receive this. So thank you so much, woman, for sharing this with the women that are listening, because what you're sharing is that you were willing to get out of your own way. And the minute you got out of your own way and you 100% owned the fact that you wanted to have the pregnancy experience, you wanted all this, it was a yes. And yes, you have your beautiful daughters, and you wanted more, and you wanted everything that your heart desired. Look at what just happened. So thank you for sharing that, woman. What a blessing it is to have you here, and you deserve all of this happiness. And I'm just so excited for you, so happy for your family, and just honored to be able to share in this story.
Thank you. I'm so excited too. And I'm having a boy, by the way.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. What are the chances you get to round out your family? 2 girls.
That's what I wanted. Yeah, I wanted a boy. So it was going to be a boy.
This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible, woman. So thank you so much, Victoria, for sharing this. And we're all sending you so much love. You're an incredible inspiration. And thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Rosanne. Thank you forever. And I'll still listening to your podcast forever, actually, because we have a long way to go still, right? With so many things coming up.
So many things, but many amazing things.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Love this episode of the Fearlessly Fertile podcast? Subscribe now and leave an awesome review. Remember, the desire in your heart to be a mom is there because it was meant for you. When it comes to your dreams, keep saying hell yes.